so that hot mess is the game that I've been working on. At the moment, the app is usable and you can make your accounts, but there's just a lot of work to be done. The quest part of the game is done, but the playable game itself is more like an engine that's ready to scale. So what that brings me to this channel is that I guess my work is at a point where it's interesting enough to talk about, and I'd like to get some feedback from the community because, like, really, until I hear what people have to say, I don't know what systems I should focus on. Like, if I'm doing this thing, I'm not doing this other thing, and the only way you can figure that out is actually by talking to people. Like opportunity, costs, and all that jazz. So very quickly, I started in plant sciences. We were working to improve drought tolerance. Then I spent like a decade in cancer diagnostics, which is where I first ran into machine learning. After that, I did an MBA in AI program, and most recently, I was doing corporate AI strategy at a biotech company. So naturally, the next step was into game development. I guess what really happened was I just wanted to build my own thing, even if what I'm building is stupid. Like, don't get me wrong, like working at big companies isn't bad. It's like, oh no, what am I going to do with this paycheck? And you get to be part of this team that does really incredible complex projects that there's just no way that I could have started by myself. And then when all those pieces click together and your product goes live, and everyone kind of celebrates, it's a really cool feeling. But I still think like the next step for me was just to do something by myself, even if it's smaller in scale. And I picked gaming because like I've been playing games ever since I was a kid. Like I remember getting a Link to the Past, which is probably my first game, and just brute forcing myself to read just so I could beat it. And like most recently, I've been playing Hardcore WoW, which is World of Warcraft, but you only just get one life. And I've never felt actual trauma over a character death before, and I must have tried like 6 or 7 times. Each time my hubris got me killed, but it's still like a lot of fun. And I guess I've just been making mini games for a very long time. It's just how I learned to code. And I think if I'm going to be building something by myself, I should just do something that I actually know what I'm talking about. At this point, it's been like 30 years. And, besides that, I don't think there's any good use cases of AI in video games. And I kind of wanted to explore this area and see what I can come up with and share what works and what doesn't work. And I've already been through like a bunch of spectacularly bad ideas. Basically, I want to do a series about making a game and not just like the code behind it, but like all the other details that go into this kind of project. The problems, the work, the nonsense, like everything. And that means I'll be working on the game engine, the story, art, music, implementing AI systems, cloud things. I don't know, maybe reviewing things like cost structures, marketing, business stuff. I don't know. Maybe navigating the UI within Google Play is its own thing to talk about because like it was kind of a mess. And besides development type videos, I'll be making like lighter content where I'll ramble a lot about how I think things should be done. Like the art in my game uses AI art and music, and like that's pretty cool. And I think it's worthwhile to demonstrate. But ultimately, the goal should be to replace it with real art because as a human, I would like to consume human things, and it should just be done by people. And besides that, like prompt engineering videos are just really boring, right? Because really what prompt engineering videos are is like you run the same prompt with like slight variations like 1,000 times and you just keep generating until you find something that you like. And you can probably use a script for this at this point. What else? Yeah, like people like to talk about vibe coding a lot and how it's a joke, but yeah, I mean, I get it, right? A lot of people are just copy and pasting. They're not really reviewing or reading or testing. They should, steal code like from Stack Overflow, like how we used to do it back in the day. Because I mean, at least you digest it, right? It's sort of like reading a book Like if you read that book, you'll remember that book. But if you read a summary of that book, then you're just gonna like forget it instantly. But man, like these tools are just way past vibe coding at this point. Like from my corporate life, like everything's changing real fast. I know that really it's more like you're now managing an idiot slave intern and AI, like you're leading the logic basically, and AI is going to code it for you bit by bit. And in my 30s, just typing less, it's just been great. And yeah, I guess let's just move on to the game, and I'll go and start with the core loop, I think, and we'll take it from there. All right, let's begin the loop with locking down the main quest. In my case, it's biking 10,000 miles. Once you click accept, the game will make 4 quarters based on the end date you picked, which can range from a week to years. Then there's a few actions you can take on the screen. You can regenerate the quarters based on new input. The quest story is dynamic and fluid based on your progress and settings. Additionally, you can click on the time travel button and jump around quarters if you feel like you want to skip something or revisit. The next thing I want to highlight is the weekly quest tracking system. Here you can see all your completed and open quests. Clicking on an individual quest details will open up the quest screen where you can get more information. Again, each screen has its own actions that can help fine-tune the kinds of quests the system makes for you. Once you click complete, you can see the rewards you'll be getting for finishing it. The game will then create a new quest based on the previous quest and the feedback you gave it. From here, let's check out the rewards, and now you can see that your character has unlocked a new weapon, Paper Airplane. This was expertly designed by my 2 kids, 8 and 5. If you click it, you can see the details. Now that we saw the weapon, let's head into the actual game, and you can see the weapon in action. Each weapon has a base attack, then there's a special attack every 5th attack, and a charge attack. Besides weapons, there's other special things to unlock, like limit breakers, consumables, permanent weapons, and other random power-ups. Anyway, that's the core loop quickly summed up. Next video, I think I'll work on side quests. This feature is adjacent to the main quest. Right now, there's no user input to help create side quests, just random fun ideas that you can select from. And as I was making this video, I realized that there should be. So the action plan for next week is pretty straightforward. Step 1 is to collect the user input. Once you have that, you add it to the original prompt, which has the instructions and format that I want the response to be in. That prompt is sent to the large language model using an API call, followed by a response back from that model. The response is validated. Basically, we make sure that it exists and it's in the correct format. Once that's confirmed, it gets parsed, and you save it to the cloud and update the UI. Like, that sounds a little bit fancy, but it's just technical language. Like, every field has its own way of talking, and like once you get past that, it's not anything more complicated than a lot of other things out there. Basically, I'm just like using pre-built models and organizing them. Yeah, so that's like the first look into QuestForged. If enough momentum builds, I would love to eventually create these 2 features. Party mode, which would have like a tank, a healer, and a DPS. And quests, like destination quests, that can like maybe send you somewhere. Like a walk to the park to find some statue, or maybe like checking out a new coffee place would be pretty cool. Anyway, let's end it there. Below is a link to the Discord channel. Feel free to hop on and say hello. It's just me out there. Yeah, and if you want to try the alpha, let me know. I'll send you a Google Play link. Feedback is always super appreciated. And please comment. Let me know what you think. And like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.